Hello everyone, welcome to today's problem. So the problem is find the smallest and the biggest numbers. Create a function that takes an array of numbers and return both the minimum and the maximum number in that order. So you are going to get some numbers. This is the example. So we can see that this is the function name, and here we are going to pass an array, and it is going to return us an array which is going to contain the elements of minimum and the maximum. Note, all test arrays will have at least one element and that are valid. Now, so how are we going to solve this problem? So we are going to get some numbers in an array, and we need to figure out what is the smallest number and what is the highest number here. So let's just say we have 5% here, and each of them are making a certain amount of money. Let's just say person number 1 makes 10,000, person number 2 makes 20,000, person number 3 makes 30,000, person number 4 makes 40,000, and person number 5 makes 50,000. Let me draw it out. So how are you going to decide that now you want to figure out who makes the most amount of money? So how are you going to do that? You need to ask each person that how much money they are making. Now, if you go to number one person and say how much money you are making, and he says that I'm making 10,000, then that is the highest amount, right? Then you go to the second person and say how much money you are making. Then the second person say, okay, I'm making 20,000. So now you know that the 20,000 is the highest one. Now you go to the third person and third person say that I'm making 30,000. So 30,000 is the highest one, and you go so and forth. Okay. Now what you are doing is you are going to each person and asking that. We are going to do exactly the same thing. We need to compare each number to with the previous number and see which one is bigger, right? So let me code it up so you can, it will be easier to understand. Now I have written the question here, and I have taken the index.html and linked the script file with it as well. Now, first thing first, I'm going to create a function. The function name is going to be minMax. Minmax, then it is going to take the array, the argument, and then it is going to have a function and the console log. I am working, and now I'm going to call this function and open it up in the live server. Control Shift J, so it is going to open up the console, and you can see that I am working. So our console is working and our function is working as well. Now we need to do the things. In the minMax, we need to take some numbers first. We are going to take this array. We are going to take this array, and now we are going to write our function. So the first thing first, we are going to find out the maximum value or the maximum number. To do that, first thing we are going to take a constant, not constant, we are going to let maximum value is going to be array 0, because we are going to start from the index number 0, that is 1. So let me console log max So you can see that at the 0 index, we are going to have this, the first number in the zero index. So we are going to compare this thing with the second one and everything. So to do that, we are going to use for loop for let this thing. So we are going to say that I is equal to 1 as long as I is less than array length. As long as I is less than the length of the array, we are going to run this function, and every time the function ends, you are going to increase it by 1. So that means that after you ask number 1 person, you are going to go to the number 2 person, number 3, 4, 5, and when you go to the number 5 person, that is the end of the array, so that the function is going to stop. So you are going to go to number 1 person first, and let me write this down. If array I, let me, if array I is greater than or equal to, it is writing everything, then max is going to be array I. So what we are trying to say is that if array I is maybe 1 is greater than or whatever the value, if it is greater than the value of array 0, then the max is going to be array 1. So we are saying that if number 1 person makes more money than the number 2 person, then the maximum is going to be the what number 1 person makes, right? Let me console it right now. Console.log max. Let's see what we find. So I have to write it outside the if statement, otherwise we are going to see every iteration. Now if I write it here, we can see that we can see the maximum number here. We are going to do the same thing. We are going to take a minimum number. It is going to be let minimum is going to be array 0. Our first number is going to be the minimum one. We are going to assume that, and it is going to be array 0. Now we are going to loop through each number, and it is going to be I plus plus. Array dot length. So now we are going to say that if the array of A is less than or equal to minimum, then the minimum number is going to be array I. So let's console it. Minimum. We can see that the minimum number we are getting 1. So if now it is here in an array, so we are going to take an array. We are going to say const result is going to be minimum and maximum, and return console.log result. Let's see. See, we are getting the minimum and maximum of the number. Now if I put this one, let's see what I get. Instead of this, I am putting this one. So here my minimum number is 5 and the maximum number is this one. And lastly, if I put this, let's see what I get. And now my minimum number is 1 and the maximum number is also 1. And that is the output. So this is the answer. This is the solution of this video. Hopefully this video has helped you. So see you in the next video.